General Hospital spoilers reveal Sasha is standing at a crossroads, knowing that whatever decision she makes next will define her future, and more importantly, the future of her child. With the baby's arrival growing closer each day, her need for financial security has become urgent. She needs a stable home, a safe environment, and the ability to provide for her child without constantly feeling like she's dependent on the generosity of others. She refuses to go back to the Quartermaines for help, and despite Jason's multiple offers to support her, she doesn't want to feel indebted to anyone. She wants to stand on her own, to prove that she can create the life she envisions for her child, one free from chaos, scandal, and uncertainty. But reality is much harsher than she anticipated. The costs of setting up a new home, preparing for the baby's arrival, and ensuring she has everything she needs are overwhelming. The stress of financial insecurity is pushing her to a breaking point. Every day that passes without a solution only adds to the pressure, making her desperate for an answer, any answer. That's when Jen Sidwell comes into the picture with an offer that seems like the perfect solution, a $250,000 payout, more than enough to cover everything Sasha needs to start her new life. The amount is staggering, more money than she has ever had access to at once. It's the kind of financial relief that could eliminate her worries in an instant. But it comes from the wrong person. Sidwell isn't offering this money out of kindness. He's a man known for using people, for making sure that every debt owed to him is paid back in full, usually with interest. Sasha knows this, and yet, the temptation is still there. She wants to believe that she can take the money, do what Sidwell asks, and walk away unscathed. After all he wants is for her to smooth things over with deception, to convince everyone that what happened at the warehouse was just a misunderstanding, and to shift blame toward Holly Sutton. It sounds simple. Too simple. But Sasha has been through enough to know that deals like this never come without consequences. If she takes Sidwell's money, she isn't just accepting a financial gift, she's putting herself in his pocket. And once she's there, it will be nearly impossible to get out. She weighs her options carefully. On one hand, Jason has told her time and time again that he will support her, that she doesn't need to do this. Michael, too, has offered to help as the father of her child. But accepting their money feels like admitting defeat. Sasha doesn't want to be seen as someone who needs to be saved, she wants to be independent, to prove that she is capable of taking care of herself and her child without anyone else's influence. Yet, deep down, she knows that her pride might be leading her down a dangerous path. If she takes the money from Sidwell, she's tying herself to him in a way that might not be easy to undo. And the scariest part? If she refuses his future demands, there's no telling what he might do. Still, she's running out of time. The baby is coming, and she can't afford to wait any longer. She convinces herself that she can handle it, that she'll be careful, that she'll make sure not to get in too deep. But the moment she accepts the money, she knows, that she has just made a deal with the devil. And once Sidwell has his claws in someone, he never lets go. Sasha may think she's solving her problems, but in reality, she might have just created a whole new set of them. And by the time she realizes the price of her decision, it may be too late to escape. Sasha had thought she was making the right choice, securing her future, giving herself and her baby the stability they needed without relying on anyone. But as the reality of her deal with Sidwell begins to sink in, she realizes she may have walked straight into a trap she cannot escape. At first, his requests seemed harmless, just casual inquiries about Port Charles and the people she associated with. He framed his questions as curiosity, an innocent interest in the workings of the town. Sasha, feeling indebted to him after accepting his money, didn't think twice when she answered. She never imagined that sharing small, seemingly insignificant details would amount to anything serious. But Sidwell was patient. He let her believe she was in control while quietly taking everything she gave him and piecing together a much bigger picture. Each time she let something slip, about Michael's distractions, Carly's worries, Jason's return, he made a mental note, calculating where he could gain the most leverage. And then, suddenly, he stopped pretending. The time for small talk was over. Sidwell wanted more, and he made it clear that Sasha was going to give it to him. She owed him now. The money he had given her wasn't a gift, it was a transaction. And he was ready to collect. The realization hit Sasha like a freight train. She had willingly put herself in a position where saying no wasn't an option. Sidwell's tone changed, his casual demeanor shifting into something sharper, something dangerous. He no longer asked, he expected. When she hesitated, he reminded her, with a cold smile, that she had chosen to take his money. "You don't get something for nothing," he said smoothly, his voice laced with unspoken threats. "And now, I need you to do something for me." Sasha wanted to refuse, but she knew better. She had seen what happened to people who crossed men like Sidwell. Fear clawed at her chest as she listened to what he wanted next, not just information, but access. He wanted her to set up meetings, to introduce him to the right people, to open doors that would normally remain closed to someone like him. She could feel the walls closing in around her, her independence slipping away with each demand he made. She tried to reason with him, to tell him that she didn't have that kind of influence. But Sidwell wasn't interested in excuses. He wanted results. "You're in the perfect position," he reminded her, his tone calm but unwavering. "People trust you. Use that." The worst part was that he wasn't wrong. Sasha was close to Michael, to Carly, to Jason. They still saw her as the woman they once knew, the one they wanted to protect. And now, Sidwell wanted her to exploit that trust. She could feel herself being pulled deeper into something she didn't want to be a part of, but there was no easy way out. If she refused, he would make her regret it. If she tried to expose him, he would destroy her. The stress became unbearable. Every conversation she had in Port Charles became a minefield, every interaction a potential betrayal. She couldn't talk to Michael without wondering if she was leading Sidwell straight to him. She couldn't confide in Carly without fearing that Sidwell would twist her words and use them against her. Even Jason, the one person who might be able to help her, felt like a risk. And then came the moment she had been dreading. Sidwell told her exactly who he wanted to meet, exactly what information he needed her to find. This wasn't just about business anymore, he was making his move, expanding his influence, and Sasha was his key to making it happen. She felt sick. Trapped. She had thought she was securing her freedom, but in reality, she had given it away to a man who now controlled her every move. Panic set in as she realized she had no idea how to escape. If she backed out now, Sidwell wouldn't just let her walk away. He would remind her, in ways she didn't want to imagine, that she had made a deal. And there was no undoing it. Every choice she had now led to danger. Stay, and she became his pawn. Try to leave, and she put herself and her baby in the crosshairs. She had made a deal with the devil. And now, there was no way out. Sasha stands frozen, the weight of her choices pressing down on her like an immovable force. Every path before her leads to consequences she cannot escape, and no matter what she decides, someone will pay the price. She had never imagined finding herself in a position like this, trapped between her desperate need for financial security and the moral dilemma of betraying the one person who has always protected her. Sidwell watches her closely, his calculating eyes reading every flicker of doubt, every hesitation in her movements. He knows she's at her breaking point. He's seen this game play out before, desperate people make desperate choices. And he's betting that Sasha will fold, that she will do exactly what he wants. Because why wouldn't she? He's offering her everything she needs. Freedom. Security. A future for her baby that no one can take away from her. And all she has to do is give him Jason. Sasha's heart pounds violently in her chest. Jason had saved her, risked his life to protect her when she had no one else to turn to. He had offered her money, a way out, without expecting anything in return. Unlike Sidwell, Jason had no ulterior motives, he simply wanted to keep her safe. And now, she is being asked to trade that loyalty for a deal she isn't sure she can live with. Sidwell's voice is calm, smooth, as he lays out his proposition. "I don't need much," he assures her. "Just a little information. Just something I can use to neutralize the situation. Sasha knows exactly what he means. Sidwell doesn't want to just deal with Jason, he wants him gone. Jason is a threat, an obstacle standing in the way of whatever Sidwell has planned. And Sasha is the key to removing that obstacle. The offer is tempting. The money Sidwell is dangling in front of her would solve everything. She wouldn't have to rely on Jason, Michael, or anyone else. She wouldn't have to be tied to the Quartermaines or accept Jason's help like some helpless charity case. She could be independent. But at what cost? If she gives Sidwell what he wants, she will never be able to undo it. She will be the reason Jason is put in danger, maybe even killed. And for what? For money? For freedom that comes with an invisible leash still wrapped around her throat? Sidwell leans in slightly, his tone dropping lower, more insistent. You know how this works, Sasha. You took my money. Now, you give me something in return. She swallows hard, her hands shaking. This is how it starts, she realizes. First, it's a small piece of information. Then another. Then another. Until she's in too deep to ever crawl out. Until she's as much a part of Sidwell's operation as anyone else. But if she refuses, what happens next? Sidwell has made it clear that turning him down isn't an option. If she says no, she won't just be disappointing him, she'll be making an enemy out of him. And Sidwell isn't the kind of man who forgives. Her mind races with possible ways out, but none of them feel safe. Could she warn Jason? Tell him everything and let him handle it? But if she does, Sidwell will know she talked. He will see it as an act of betrayal. Could she disappear? Take the money she already has and vanish before Sidwell realizes what's happening? No. He would find her. The walls are closing in. The noose tightening around her neck. And then, Sidwell makes it even worse. You should think about your baby, Sasha, he says smoothly, a smug smirk playing on his lips. The money I'm offering you? It's not just for you. It's for him. Her breath catches. He knows exactly where to hit her. Her child is her weakness. The one thing she would sacrifice anything for. Sidwell presses on, his voice soft, almost gentle. Imagine the life you can give him. A real home. No worries about money. No struggling. Just security. He tilts his head slightly. Or, you can struggle. You can make things difficult. And difficult choices come with difficult consequences. It's a veiled threat. A reminder that he holds all the power here. Sasha feels like she's drowning. The weight of her decision crushing her from all sides. Jason would never ask her to put herself at risk for him. He would tell her to take the money and walk away. To protect herself and her baby, no matter what it cost. But Jason doesn't understand what it means to be owned by someone like Sidwell. She has no good options. If she betrays Jason, she will never forgive herself. If she refuses Sidwell, she will be marked as a threat, a liability, and liabilities don't last long. No matter what she chooses, she's about to cross a line she can never uncross. Her future is no longer in her own hands. And the moment she opens her mouth to answer, she knows, her life will never be the same again. Jason and Sidwell are heading toward a collision, a battle that neither can afford to lose. The tension between them has been simmering for weeks, but now, with Sasha caught in the middle and $250,000 serving as the catalyst, the situation is spiraling toward an inevitable confrontation. This is no longer just about money, it's about control, power, and the dangerous game of manipulation that both men are playing. And at the center of it all is Sasha, whose desperate choices have placed her directly in the line of fire. Sidwell sees himself as untouchable, a man who operates in the shadows, pulling strings without ever dirtying his hands. He has carefully constructed a network of influence, making sure that everyone who works for him is indebted in some way. That money he gave to Sasha wasn't charity, it was a calculated move to ensure she would owe him, that she would become a pawn in his greater scheme. He has invested in her, and now, he expects a return. If she resists, he will remind her that she doesn't have a choice. If she tries to escape, he will remind her what happens to people who break deals with men like him. But Sidwell underestimated one thing: Jason Morgan. Jason has spent his life dealing with men like Sidwell, men who believe that power comes from fear, that money can buy loyalty, and that influence is built through control. But Jason operates under a different code. He doesn't control people, he protects them. And right now, Sasha needs protection more than ever. Jason can see the fear in her eyes, the way she flinches when Sidwell's name is mentioned, the way she has started looking over her shoulder as if she knows she is being watched. She may not admit it yet, but Jason knows she's already trapped. The $250,000 is no longer just a financial matter. It represents the chains that Sidwell has placed around Sasha, and Jason intends to break them. But Sidwell isn't going to let go without a fight. He knows Jason is a threat, and he's prepared to deal with him the same way he deals with anyone who stands in his way, by eliminating them. Sasha, caught in the crossfire, realizes that she is no longer just a passive player in this game. Both Jason and Sidwell are fighting over control of the situation, but in the end, it's her decision that will determine who wins. If she sides with Sidwell, if she lets the fear take over, Jason might not be able to save her. But if she stands with Jason, she knows she will be making an enemy out of a man who doesn't forgive betrayal. The war between Jason and Sidwell is no longer a distant threat, it's happening now, unfolding in real time, and Sasha is right in the middle of it. Sidwell is tightening his grip, making it clear that he expects her loyalty. Jason is standing firm, letting her know that she does have a choice, even if it doesn't feel like it. And then, the moment of reckoning arrives. Sidwell makes his move, sending a clear message that he isn't playing games. A warning shot, a veiled threat, a demonstration of power that leaves no doubt: if Sasha doesn't comply, she will suffer the consequences. But Jason isn't one to stand by and watch as someone he cares about is used as a bargaining chip. The confrontation between them is inevitable, and when it happens, it won't be a subtle power play. It will be an all-out war. Sidwell has resources, men willing to do his bidding, a network of control that he has spent years building. But Jason has something more dangerous: purpose. He isn't fighting for money, or power, or even revenge. He is fighting to save Sasha from a fate she doesn't fully understand yet. Sasha knows that this fight is no longer just about her, no longer just about the money she took. It's about who will control her future: Sidwell, a man who sees her as an asset, or Jason, the only person who truly wants to protect her. The $250,000 was supposed to be a solution, a way to secure a new life. Instead, it has become the reason that lives will be destroyed. And as Jason and Sidwell prepare for the final showdown, Sasha realizes that no matter how this ends, she will never be the same again.